Trick tips. I got 10 tips. Here's what I got. What? 10 tips. 10 tips. I got a trick tip for you. Trick tips. 10 tricks. 10 tricks. 10 tricks. Here's a trick tip for 10 tips. This is my opinion from 10 years of experience. Didn't do all these things perfectly. Number 1, count the cost. Because if you want to start a long-term ministry and you want to have long-term relationships with skateboarders, you should be thinking like 10 years. When I moved out to China, I was thinking to myself, okay, this could take me 10 years. When I was reading autobiographies about missionaries who did really big things, like 10 years was the minimum. Lots of them didn't see a single person come to Jesus for 10 years. I was like, these relationships could take a really long time. And expect that you're going to make relationships that'll be lifelong relationships. Number 2, which is start a business or work. When you're not thinking long term about how to work in another country and be there for a long time, if you're not thinking realistically about what it'll actually take to live there long term, then you're gonna like waste a ton of time not being proactive, I think, in this area. Because you can spend the first few years learning the language, you can like goof around, or you can get by on tourist visas and stuff like that. But if you're not a Sean Hover, like pro skateboarder, professional evangelist, like you're gonna need to find something to occupy your time and make you relevant to the community around you and make you relatable. And in our experience and what we've built up to and what I'm continually in my life working towards is creating business and creating something that'll also make physical value in people's lives. So think about that you're probably gonna have to work or start a business, even to just stay in the country, right? So think long term, think about work, think about business. What's something that you love to do? What's something that you could do? What's something that you could start? Do you need credentials to be able to do that? Like, you're not allowed to work in China without a degree. So I'm 30 years old and now I have to go home and get a degree because I've like been in there 10 years and I got to sort that out. Number 3, language. Language. Learn the language. It's the most important thing you can do, the most important way you can invest your time. If you're going to be there long term, if you want to start a ministry in another country, invest everything into the language. When I first moved out, some of the best advice I got was don't worry about anything other than the language. Ministry isn't as important as investing those first years in the language. I didn't invest in the language as hard as I should have, and I've like paid the price ever since. You can always kill it way harder at the language and it'll just reap like massive rewards later. So you gotta, again, think with a long-term perspective. This is something that needs to like reap long-term benefits. Invest as hard as you can into the language. Number 4, have fun. This could be anywhere in the list, but you want to have fun. Like you want to have fun with everything. You want to have a fun, thankful, grateful attitude. You want to be open to learning and having new experiences. You want to, like, even when you experience the bad things, you want to kind of have fun with them. When I was very first flying out to China and all of a sudden it hit me like, oh, this is crazy. Like, what am I doing? Like, this could go really bad. God just spoke to me and was like, just enjoy every single moment. The good moments, the bad moments, the lonely moments, blah, blah, blah. Just enjoy them. And so having that attitude made life a million times easier, especially over the years as things got more difficult and whatever. Remember, enjoy it. Culture. This is a really big one. After 10 years of being in a different culture, of being specifically focused on skate ministry, I think I've realized something, and I kind of wish I would have realized this more in the beginning, but as skateboarders and doing skateboard ministry, I think sometimes we get caught up in thinking that skateboard culture and the tribe of skateboarders is the be-all and end-all. But the truth is that every single culture that you're in already has an inherent mother culture that's underneath skateboarding. They were born first as their mother culture. They were completely raised in it. That's the culture that's all around them 100%. and then they become skateboarders because there's something inside of them that gets triggered and that is suitable for them to become skaters. And that's where we're able to relate and easily build relationships. But there's a whole nother underlying world of their own culture which shapes their worldview. It shapes the way that they understand everything that you tell them. And if you don't really learn that culture, if you don't really intentionally invest time in figuring out what that culture is and becoming a part of it, being open to being a part of it, getting yourself out of your Western bubble that you might be stuck in, you're going to be 10 years down the road and no one invites you to their house still because you haven't really figured out how to integrate yourself into the culture. So remember that even though you're doing skateboarding, it's not the end culture. It's not the beginning culture. It's an amazing culture, but there's a certain shallowness to it and you got to get past that. Number 5 or 6, legit relationships. Just focus on building a few legitimate relationships, especially at first. And sometimes, depending on what country you're in, sometimes when you first show up, you're like really popular. Everyone thinks that you're really cool. You're gonna have tons of people wanting your attention, and that's gonna be fun, and then it's gonna become stressful, and then it's gonna be like, okay, where's my real friends? And then you wanna really work on developing those real relationships. So as one person, you can only like have so many deep, intimate friendships, and those friendships are essential and really important. So focus on building a few key, real important relationships with locals. Yep, they'll be your friends for the rest of your life. Number 7, I think, team. Team is so important. Just one other person will make all the difference in all the world. When I first moved out to China, I was all by myself. I didn't know anybody. And for the first couple of months, it was like, oh man, I need somebody so bad. So I just started praying every single day. God, I need a partner. God, I need a partner. I need someone to like do this with. And he provided, and James and I have worked together for 10 years. We've been together, working together, and it was just the raddest provision I could ever have experienced. Having someone there with you, alongside you, who has the same goals and the same vision, makes everything 1 million times more possible. Jesus sent his people out in twos. Jesus himself sent people out in twos. It's okay to go out by yourself. It's okay, but you better be praying and have your eyes open and waiting for that person that God has for you. Team makes all the difference. Build a team around you. Learn how to work in a team. Don't forget how to work in a team if you've been alone for a really long time. Be bold and be courageous. Skateboarding's built on doing things you're not supposed to do. It's built on, basically trying to kill yourself. Take that into your ministry as well. You got to be bold. You got to be courageous. And if you wait too long, if you wait too many years to be bold and to be courageous, it starts to get just more and more and more awkward, right? Like 5 years down the road and you've got these good friends, and then it's like, why haven't you told them about Jesus yet? It's okay to be upfront. It's better to be upfront about it. Be bold, be courageous. Even if you're in a closed country, we've experienced nothing but freedom, and we're in like China. So it'll bring big breakthrough. Number 9, short-term teams are awesome. I suggest having Calling All Skaters come and serve you, because they're really encouraging and it's fun. It's great to live vicariously through them, and they come, they reach out to all kinds of people that you don't get to reach out to. They get to come and build new relationships with people that you don't normally get to spend a lot of time with because you're only one person. Skate Life come. The ambassador guys. Have the ambassador guys come. Have a skate team come from somewhere. Ride Nature, do they send teams? Short-term teams are awesome. Okay, number 10. Learn to celebrate. I think now, looking back over 10 years of doing this, I think one of the things that makes it the most difficult is that we get so wrapped up in doing what we're doing, and lots of times we're alone, and we don't really know how to celebrate all the amazing stuff that God's doing, and we don't take time to celebrate, or we don't figure out a way to celebrate that's really important for us personally. And when we don't know how to celebrate, and how to celebrate achievements, to celebrate God's provision, to celebrate all kinds of stuff, I think it leads to burnout, it leads to feeling isolated, it leads to like feeling bad. It kind of, all around. And so when I look back, I feel like we haven't celebrated particularly well. And lots of times because if it's just you running it, you kind of also judge yourself so hard, being like, no, well, we're not good enough. We haven't done this well enough. Like, not enough people have come to Jesus. We suck at discipling. We suck at language. But if you always are thinking like that and thinking negatively, that's not how God is thinking about you. And so you need to figure out how to celebrate. Figure out how to celebrate as a team. Figure out how to celebrate one another. So much better. It'll help other people also want to stay with you longer. And I think celebrating is also good for helping you stay focused. To stay focused on your goals. Because if you don't celebrate and you forget to like make yourself feel good when good stuff's happening in the direction of your goals, you lose focus, because when stuff gets hard and difficult, you'll tend to revert back to like more basic things for you that are easier, or you'll start to like look elsewhere to look for easier successes and things like that. But remember, this is a long-term game. So you need encouragement. You need to encourage yourself, and you need to encourage your teammates and be encouraged by your teammates. So if you don't know how to celebrate together, it's going to make the long haul, I think, really difficult. So there you have it, 10. But I have one bonus. We got bonus round. This one's really important. Make sure your girl is down. If you have a girlfriend, or if you're looking to get a girlfriend, she could pretty much screw absolutely everything up. Just saying, from experience. You better know that girl is completely down with living the skate ministry life in some way, living in your country, reaching out to these people, that she cares about at very least the work that you're going to do, if not partnering with you in doing it. Man, girls, that's the bonus. Be careful. But having a girl that's on your team is absolutely amazing. My wife is incredible. I know lots of other skate ministers whose wives are also incredible, super down. It's the only reason why they're able to do what they do. Because if they got a wife who wasn't down, they would be gone. So sort that out. So I hope this makes sense, you guys. And thanks for watching. I don't know, it's just on my heart that this is probably something that maybe other people want to watch. I'm like, why aren't more people doing long-term skateboard ministry in other countries outside of America? It could be you. You can do it. I did it. I didn't know anything. Peace.